to WAC play. You're able to split split 2 games on the road. Kind of talk about the schedule you guys face. One on the road. Sorry. Talk about the being able to split that kind of a 1-2 series.
Yeah, last week was a tough week for our team. Played 2 really good teams. Had an opportunity to host Grand Canyon, and really hard game for our team. I mean, we had all the momentum in the first half, everything going well for us. Had a double-digit lead at halftime, and then came out in the third quarter and didn't match Grand Canyon's physicality, and still had the lead after the third, but fourth quarter just I feel like we just got outrun and out-physicaled. Really, proud of our team. I think they tried to follow through with the game plan, but just didn't match their physicality in the fourth quarter. And honestly, that game's a little bit of a blur, and we had 2 kids that got injured in that game. That's always hard, just heartbroken for any injuries. And so it proved to be a bigger loss than in the win-loss column to have a couple of players get hurt. Quick turnaround, though. We had Friday to get into our scouting report for Cal Baptist, flew out to California and played early on Saturday. And our team was the tough team out on the court, played well together, thought they gathered themselves after a tough home loss and flying across the country. They really played united on the floor. I think that we saw a lot of good teamwork. Saw some players really elevate their level of play. Emma and Meredith are starting post players, and they had below average games against Grand Canyon on Thursday, and then they were each 1 rebound away from double doubles on Saturday against Cal Baptist. So just that resiliency they showed and how they bounced back was pretty tremendous. Bella did what she does. She had a double-double at Cal Baptist, and then Erin Woodson got her first start for our team, and she hits the first bucket of the game, and just did a tremendous job for us both offensively and defensively. I thought that Bree and Zoe were a great tag team in our point guard position. They played really well, played really smart offensively, gave us some good minutes on the defensive side too. So great team win at Cal Baptist. I think it broke a double-digit win streak at home at Cal Baptist. So obviously it's really, really hard to go in there and leave with a win. And so for our team to be able to do that on Saturday was a big deal for our program, and just an affirming win that, when we all play together, like, good things can happen for our program.
Going back to that Grand Canyon game, only 24 points in the second half. Was it something an adjustment that they made, or was it kind of just you guys went cold on the offensive side?
Yeah, for sure it was an adjustment they made. It just got so physical in the second half, and honestly it wasn't called the same in the second half. We got to the free throw line a ton in the first half and barely at all in the second half, and we just didn't adjust. I mean, it just got super physical, and we got out physicaled in the second half.
And then going into Saturday, was that kind of a point of emphasis of, okay, we're gonna be the tougher team? And how proud of your team are you that they were able to make that adjustment? It's one thing to say that, it's another thing to do it.
Aaron scored the first basket of the game on Saturday, and we held the lead for 40 minutes. And that's really hard to do at any level, but it's hard to do on the road for sure. And just, proud of our players, just, showing some toughness, showing some resiliency. They didn't get pushed around. They were real solid, and, I can't emphasize enough just how well they played together as a team.
And going on the road to a top 2 team in the conference right now and coming away with a win, what kind of momentum does that bring for your team?
We'll find out this week, but hopefully it gave them a lot of confidence and instilled some belief in, just focus on what you can control and be the best version of yourself for your teammates. But it should give us some confidence rolling into this week's games.
And going to talk about a couple of individuals here. Meredith, I believe she had a career high in points, especially coming off a game, like you said, where she was below average. How good is it to see that kind of adjustment on just a sophomore going in? How good is that to see?
Well, and you mentioned Meredith being a sophomore. Grand Canyon has 11 seniors, some of those fifth-year seniors, so a lot of experience. And we're relying heavily on 3 sophomores that start for us. And there's a big difference just in the mentality after you played, 3 or 4 years of college basketball. And so I think what we all learned from performances like Meredith May's performance on Saturday is what an awesome person she is, high character young woman. She knew that she didn't play her best game on Thursday, and you can hang your head, you can worry about, oh my gosh, how am I going to play on Saturday? But she was in beast mode on Saturday. She was 10 for 12 from the floor, had to score against a really good defensive post player at Cal Baptist, and so I think it shows just a lot to everyone about who Meredith Mays is and just her character.
And going from one post player to another, Emma, she leads your charge wall, if I'm not mistaken. And the fact, I have no idea the fact that one of your returning players is kind of setting the tone when it comes to putting her body on the line and trying to get that offensive turnover. How cool is that to see that she's kind of setting an example, especially for the new transfers coming in of like, hey, this is what we're doing at ACU. We take charges, we get turnovers like that.
Since I've been here, we've taken a lot of pride in taking charges. I mean, we want to be an elite help side defensive team, and last year as a freshman, Emma was really the example for taking charges. And again, as a sophomore, I mean, she is not afraid to take a charge. It's kind of a silly thing. Why you're afraid to step over there? I mean, you take the charge, it doesn't hurt at all. Like you get over there and take the charge, we get the ball back, like you don't even realize that someone just ran you over. But Emma's really strong, like physically strong, and just a tough mentality. Like she's a really good rebounder as well. She gets in there and bangs for rebounds. She dives on the floor for loose balls. Stepping over to take a charge or at least stop a drive is a big deal for her. So she definitely sets a tone with toughness on defense.
And speaking of toughness, you got a tough contest coming up this week. It's that West Texas rivalry. You got Tarleton on the road. Kind of talk about that matchup and the rivalry you got there. It's always going to be a tough physical game whenever you guys meet. So what's going to take to be able to pull that one out on the road?
Yeah, we've had great games against Tarleton at home and on the road. It's been a long-standing rivalry way before I got to ACU, and so that the students are going to fill their arena. The way their gym is built, you feel like the fans are right on top of you. Like it's a really fun environment to play in. It's really loud, kind of hostile, and we usually have a really good fan base there as well. But we expect an intense game. Tarleton is disappointed in the way their Grand Canyon game turned out Saturday. I mean, it was almost like ours. They led the whole game, and then Grand Canyon gets a win. So I know that was a heartbreaker for them. And so, going into Thursday's game, both teams have something to prove. Both teams are going to be fighting hard to come out ahead. So looking forward to that battle at Stephenville on Thursday. And remind our fans, you can get over there in less than an hour and a half. It's an easy drive. And so look forward to, that rivalry Thursday.
And going to Saturday, you guys got UT Arlington. Talk about that game, and then also talk about how nice is it to stay in Texas for road games instead of having to get on a plane and go to a different state.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of Texas teams in the WAC continues to dwindle. There's only 3 of us, and we are just so grateful that they put these two games together where, we've got 2 on the road, but they're both in Texas. There's no flight involved, and so we are grateful for that, just to bus to Stephenville and bus to Arlington.
So 1-1, a lot of good, a lot of bad. What were some of the things you noticed as a coach from this past week of play?
Just teamwork and the resiliency of our ladies. For whatever reason, this is a team that really embraces being road warriors. Got a great record on the road, and we have an opportunity to showcase that again this week, playing 2 teams on the road. But just, proud of our teams for, not worrying about things that we can't control, just kind of focusing on being the best teammates and the best team that we could be.
And then 2 injuries, Peyton and Holland. Who was the other player that was injured?
Our starting point guard, Mia Rivers.
So, not having them, they get hurt in the game you lost, but you come back early game and you get a big win. You just talked about resiliency. Tell me about the resiliency of this team being able to bounce back off of that.
Yeah, our team just, they focused on what they could control. We didn't worry about the players not suiting up. We, tried to be big encouragers to the ones that suited up and, had really good performances from Erin Woodson, who got her first start. Bree Davis and Zoe Jackson were a great tandem at the point guard position. Emma and Meredith had career nights for us. They were both just, one rebound short of having double-doubles. So everybody really stepped up on Saturday. And now the challenge is to continue doing that. It can't be a one-game thing, like we have to continue elevating our level of play in the absence of a couple of teammates.
So overall record 13-6, but you look at the conference record, of course, it's only 2-2. But now you have this opportunity, a rivalry game. You have the chance to have a winning conference record and then maybe even make that 4-2. What are the things that you think needs to happen in order to win, the next game or two?
Yeah, we have 12 conference games left, 6 at home, 6 on the road, and we really just focus on one at a time. And so the next few days, all of our focus will be on, what do we need to do to win at Tarleton. And so just want our players to understand that, like, we're not going to look ahead. We're just focused on this one game and, brand new game plan to learn this week. And just want our players to understand that, everything we've done up to this point, it's for the next game. The next game is the most important game. Thank you all.
Is Erin okay? I know she got an elbow to the face on Thursday.
What's up?
Good morning. Is it nice not having to get on a plane this week?
It did so far. I haven't experienced it yet, but this will be our first full week in like 9 weeks or something like that. So excited, man. Yeah, excited.
All right. So, not the results you were potentially hoping for this week in WAC play, but it's still really competitive games. Kind of talk about going to Grand Canyon. Going to Grand Canyon in that tough environment, and then coming back home and losing a close one as well to Cal Baptist.
Yeah, I was worried about my team going to Grand Canyon because I have so many guys that hadn't experienced that before. It is a different environment, and I thought we actually handled it pretty well early. It was as they kind of made a run. We kind of lost our way a little bit, and so a struggle there. But I was really proud of how our guys bounced back. It was a heck of a game here. Obviously, we wanted to be on the other end of it, but we didn't. We fell short. We jumped out to a good lead, and we're in control of the game, in my opinion. And credit to Cal Baptist, they just kind of chipped away, found a way to get back in the game, and then down the stretch, we didn't hold on. We had a big defensive error, which we usually don't have, right before the 4-minute media, and I think when that happened, we kind of lost our confidence. Like, it gave them a 1-point lead, which is no big deal with 4 minutes left to play, but I could feel it in the huddle. Our belief was kind of disappearing, and that's where this team has to grow right now. Look, we're right there. And somebody asked me the other day, what do you need to fix? I said, we don't need to fix anything. All we got to do is get our belief back. This is the same team that was 8-6, playing probably the second toughest non-conference schedule in the league. We won on the road at 2 teams that are winning their league right now. And so we're a good basketball team. We've just kind of lost our belief, and you can kind of feel that down the stretch. We just need to get these guys to believe that we are good, we are worthy. When that happens, I think we'll take off.
And I know at least on Saturday, one of the big things that stood out was the rebound differential on you guys. How big of a factor did that play, if it played one at all, down the stretch?
Really, it was just one possession. They got 3 offensive rebounds in one possession and finished it with a 3. That was the one possession where rebounding hurt us. We got a lot more shots than they did, so they're going to get a lot more rebounds, because we didn't, if we don't make them. Rebounding's kind of a skewed stat sometimes. This has kind of become our habit. We basically win every stat category that you're supposed to win a game, except for one, and that I'm going to stop talking about. I thought it didn't matter, but maybe it does. But so we got more shots. We turned them over. We did all the stuff you're supposed to do, and so that's where the rebounding comes in. We missed some shots, but We actually were shooting a good percentage until the last 6 or 7 minutes of the game. Again, comes that tightness that I was talking about. These guys want to do well. I don't realize sometimes until I go back and watch the game back how hard these guys are playing. These guys are giving us everything. This team plays as hard as probably any team we've ever had. And so we're doing all the things it takes to win, except for just down that stretch in that last few minutes. And so, the rebounding didn't bother me too much, just knowing that we got more shots.
And one thing that it's kind of been a little bit of a similar trend, at least on this cold stretch you guys have had, is that one run in the game that just you kind of struggle to stop sometimes. What do you think that is? Do you think that's just so many new players? Do you think that's just kind of the tightness you're talking about? Or
Yeah, I told him in the locker room the other day, like it's we do have a lot of new guys, right? But they're not new anymore. And we're about to crawl into February, and so to me, they're experienced players at this point, and so we could use that excuse early in the year. We shouldn't use it now, but I think that the bottom line is that run is it's a game of runs. Basketball is one team makes a run, another team makes a run. For whatever reason, it happens every game, and it's us coming back and making that final run. We're starting games well. We're finishing halves well. We're starting second halves well. We're just not finishing the game well. And so that's something I have to look back and evaluate. What am I doing? What decisions am I making? And then the guys, like I've been talking to them about just having that belief factor.
And I know if I'm going to ask the question and if you knew the answer, you wouldn't be on this streak. But what's it going to take to break this tough run that you guys have been on for the last few weeks?
Yeah, I think I do know the answer. I really do. I think it's just them finding belief in themselves, and as a group. I mean, they're still believing in each other. They're still believing in the staff. Like, I have no doubt about that, or they wouldn't play as hard as they do. The first thing you lose when they stop buying in is how hard they play. And these guys are playing as hard as any team I've ever had. And so it's just having that belief factor, that they can finish games out and do it. And I know they can. It's just getting them to know that they can.
And I know, going off Julie's math, you guys got 12 conference games left. At what point does it kind of get a little stressful of, okay, we need to start winning these games if we want to make it to the tournament?
Yeah.
Are we at that point yet, or we still got a little bit of time?
No, I don't know if it ever gets to that point. Everybody makes the conference tournament, and at our level, all that matters is March. And how well do you play in March? And I've been blessed in my career. I've been to NCAA tournaments and won conference titles and stuff. And I've won conference titles and not gone to the NCAA tournament. I haven't won conference titles and gone to the NCAA tournament, and so it's really about March. It's about finding that belief. It's all a process, man. It's all a journey. And how are you playing as February winds down and March starts to wind up? And so if we just got to get them going, kind of like we did last year. We had an unbelievable game in the conference tournament that could have gone either way, but we were playing as good as anybody. I felt confident. The team felt confident. We all felt confident going into March, and we want to get to that point. And I think that's what this is about, man. Fighting through adversity, and people keep telling us that, hey, man, the back end of the schedule favors you. I don't know if any part of the schedule favors you, right? But we do get to play at home, and so I think the legs can rest. Maybe the illnesses stuff and all that stuff starts to disappear because we're not in airports and we're getting sleep, and so hopefully that stuff will help. But at the end of the day, it's just finding that belief, and how do we do that? It doesn't happen overnight. Probably need to win one. That's going to help. And I think that we're right there. I really do. Every team in this league is good. There are no bad teams. And everybody in this league has lost, except for one team, I believe. And so, look, man, it's going to be a dogfight all the way down the stretch. And I think that, we're built for it. We just got to get that belief factor.
And speaking of dogfights, your next game, it's going to be one. We all know that. It's Tarleton at home. Probably your biggest rival in the conference. West Texas, it's going to be physical. It's going to be a close game. Talk about this matchup and what a win would mean, especially against a team like Tarleton that you guys had that long history.
Yeah, there's a long history way before I got here. Back to the Division II days, just with our proximity to each other, I think, and it's become kind of a way because we kind of play similar styles. They play extremely hard. I've told our guys it's going to be like a street fight, man, and kind of comes down to how's the game called. Do they call it tight? Do they let us play? Which sometimes they do because we're both so physical. Which we always hope for, to be honest with you. And so, but look, it's coming down to it's going to be a good basketball game. It's going to be a street fight, man. Like, do we have the belief in the second half that we can finish it out? And I think if we find that, if we get that, then we'll be fine. But win or lose, I told the guys, wins and losses right now doesn't. I mean, yeah, I know that sounds weird, but like at this level, man, it's about how you're playing in late February and early March, and so it's about, are we heading in the right direction, and that's what I'm looking for. Are we moving forwards or are we moving backwards? Are we starting to lose belief or are we starting to gain belief? And I think this is a good test for that, and especially with their style of play. Do we go out there and do we have the same fight when somebody's going to punch us back? When we throw that haymaker, how do we handle that? Do we get back up or do we stay down?
So, I mean, for the whole team, times have been tough, but you also look individually, like Hunter Jack in his last game, 25 minutes, he had 1 rebound, no assists, no points. Leo hasn't particularly been, the sharpest. Mm-hmm. What's your message to, the guys that haven't been exactly performing? Yeah,
is that they need to do better. But they want to do better. You know what I mean? I think Leo has become a focal point for our opponents for the first time in his career. He had a good year last year, but he wasn't really a focal point. That was another player. And Leo's kind of the guy that people try to stop. And he's got to find ways now to overcome that a little bit. But I think outside of one game, I think Leo has done enough, and he's done everything that we can ask of him. We would love more, but he's doing what we need. Hunter has been struggling. It's no secret. He knows it. We know it. I have a lot of loyalty to Hunter because he's been through so many battles with me, and he's such a good kid, and he wants it so badly. I showed up yesterday, right after church, and the only, guys came in throughout the day, but Hunter was here. Hunter was in here, and lights were off, and he was shooting baskets. It's like he wants it, man, and he's putting the work in. He's just got to find his belief. I think he's lost it, and I think he's a big part of what we're doing. When I talk about belief, he's a leader for this team, and I think that if he can find his belief, then the other guys will kind of follow. But as a coach, I do have to look at doing some things different. I've probably rode that train a little too long, just out of my loyalty, and it doesn't mean that Hunter needs to play, and Hunter needs to get this thing turned back around for us to turn it back around. But I probably need to look at giving some other guys some extra, some more minutes than they're getting, playing a different way, and not playing through him as much, and let him find his way back, And we talked a lot the other day about, hey, find some other ways to help this team win. Be an unbelievable screener. Focus on not turning the ball over. Be a great defender. And I think that resonated with him. And I think we're going to see a different mindset with Hunter this weekend. Just knowing. I was encouraged when I saw him in the gym yesterday. I usually walk in there when I see people, and I didn't do that. I just kind of snuck back upstairs. He was having his moment in the gym. I wanted to let him have it. And so, but I'm confident that he's going to turn this thing around. And he's dealt with some injuries. Not to make excuses for him. We haven't really talked about that. But I think it's fair to Hunter for people to understand what he's been dealing with. He's playing through a lot of stuff right now that a lot of people wouldn't play through, and that's some of it, But maybe we have to look at that, and maybe he needs to take some time to get his body right, But we'll figure it out.
You mentioned wins and losses. I guess being important to a certain extent, but I mean, 6-game lose streak. You have this opportunity against a rival. How important would it be to win and get this monkey off your back and get that first conference win?
It would be huge, right? Like, I mean, talking to a good friend of mine in the league that the other day that has done that was kind of struggling and found a way and now has won a couple. I think it's always the easiest way to get your belief is to win a game, right? And so I think it would be huge to kind of get off of this little run. Look, the game is a game of runs. Seasons are or runs. Teams go on winning streaks, losing streaks. We finished in a conference title game not too long ago, and we lost 5 in a row that year, and finished with winning 12 out of 14. I think that anything's possible as long as you find your belief and you continue to do things the right way, which so far we are. We've got to get some answers at the free throw line, but I think that's the belief factor. If you look, we're making them early and we're missing them late. And I think that's the belief factor. Guys trying to put things on their shoulders, and they don't need to do that. They just need to step up and do what they've done since they were 6 years old. And that's what we're focused on this week, is getting these guys to understand that. Making sure they know I believe in them, because I've been pretty hard on them, and I don't want them to think that means that I don't believe in them. It means that I do. If I wasn't hard on them right now, that means that I've given up. And so I'm gonna keep pushing them, and we're gonna get off this little run, and we're gonna start a new one, and I'm confident in that. All right, thanks, guys.